up vids, 090 back here with the second video today, and in today's video, this is the Canberra Raiders 2021 season preview. Now, look, the Canberra Raiders, they've been a really competitive side over the last, I guess you could say maybe 3 or 2 years now. I think that, you know, they've been a really solid side, Canberra. I think they've always been known as a really tough team, the Grand Machine. I think they've always played really well. They've always had some really great players like Josh Papali in their team, absolute enforcer of that club. And Josh Hodgson, Josh Hodgson's just like Cameron Smith a little bit in a way. Obviously not better than Cameron Smith, but Josh Hodgson his game is really similar and based nearly on Cameron Smith. He's a very, very smart player, Josh Hodgson. They got guys like Jared Croker, very solid leader. I mean, didn't have his best 2020, but overall, very solid leader who displays a lot of a good leadership towards the club and to the younger guys there as well. You know, you've got guys like Elliot Whitehead, Tarpany, Clockstead, just a lot of good players in that team, a lot of stars. So I think Canberra look good heading into 2021. You know, I think they've got a really good team full of great depth. Actually, it's a big thing for Canberra this year. Their depth is really good. So yeah, hopefully enjoy the season preview for the Canberra Raiders. So let's start by going through my team. So this is the team I'd personally pick in my opinion. So fullback Charles Clockstead, the wingers are Bailey Simonson and John Rapana, and the centres are Jared Croker and Harley Smith-Shields. Now I'll explain why I have Harley Smith-Shields in the centres in a second. The halves are Jack White and George Williams. The props are Josh Papali and C.S. Oliola. The hookers, Josh Hodgson. The back rows are Corey Haro and Naira and Elliot Whitehead. And lockers, Joe Tarpany. And off the bench, number 14, Tom Starling. 15, Corey Horsburgh. 16, Dynamis Louis. And 17, Ryan James. And the the coach, Ricky Stewart. Yeah, look, that's a really, really strong 1 to 17, I think. I think they've really covered, they're really covered in a lot of spots. I think their halves are great. Their forward pack's really mobile and strong. They've got a really nice team, Canberra, I think, and I think the reason why I put Harley Smith-Shields in front of Curtis Scott for that centre position is because I feel like Curtis Scott, he's done. I think Curtis Scott's nothing but more than a can't defend wannabe fuck or whatever. I don't care. I don't like Curtis Scott personally, but that's just my opinion. I think Curtis Scott he's nothing special anymore. I mean, 2017 I liked him because he was a premiership winning centre, had a lot of potential, but now he's become a bit more stale football, if you ask me, Curtis Scott. So that's why I have Harley Smith-Shields. I think Harley Smith-Shields has a lot of potential from games I saw last year, so I think he will go really well if he plays in first grade, Harley Smith-Shields. And now their depth, Adam Cook, Caleb Akins, Curtis Scott, Matt Frawley, Matthew Timico, Sam Williams, Sebastian Chris, Semi Valame, Adam Mariotta, sorry if I said that wrong. But yeah, Ata Mariotta, Darby Medlin, Emre Gula, Harry Rushton, Hudson Young, Kai O'Donnell, Ryan Sutton, and Saliba Havili is the Canberra Raiders depth for 2021. Now, depth looks really strong for Canberra. I mean, that's not a problem for Canberra at all. I mean, some teams do have problems with depth, but Canberra are lucky because they don't have any problems. So they look good in terms of depth, Canberra. So yeah, they're really well covered in terms of in that area. Now the strengths of 2021. So here's Canberra's strengths in 2021. I believe they are. One of their strengths are a brilliant spine, and the other strength is that their depth, which is a big strength for Canberra in 2021 as well. So getting to their first strength I mentioned, which is their brilliant spine. I think the Canberra Raiders 2021 spine is a big strength. I mean, obviously got a lot of quality at the back with Charles Clockstead. Obviously, he's a great player who was great for Maori in the Maori All Stars on Saturday night. I thought very quality player who brings a lot of energy and just a very smart footballer who always is there. Or you can always rely on Charles Clockstead. Very, very solid player who has come a long way since he was at the Warriors. I mean, at the Warriors, he was nothing more than a backup player, reserve grade. Everyone didn't know who he was. And now at Canberra, now ever since he went to Canberra, he really established himself as a star player and an elite fullback. So, yeah, look, he's a great player, Nickel Clockstead. I expect him to have a big 2021 as well. Now the halves, Jack White and George Williams. Now Jack White's obviously a really, really good player. I think when he plays for New South Wales Blues and especially for Indigenous on Saturday night, I think that centre's not his position, but you've got to fit him in the team somewhere because that's the quality Jack White brings to a side. Brings a lot of quality. He's just a star player who I think is just out of this world as a player on his day. Obviously, he won the Daily M Player of the Year in 2020 for a reason, and Obviously that's because of the back of his great form he shows for Canberra each week, and the way he plays, it's just really good. It's really impressive. So he's a great player, Jack Whiten, very, very skillful big player. He's a big 5'8", and he's really skillful. So great player, Jack Whiten is. And the halfback, George Williams. Now, George Williams, I didn't know much about him at first. When he came to Canberra in 2020, I didn't know much about him because he played in the Super League. I know I watched the Super League, but I didn't really watch them closely. And George Williams, he really impressed me last year. I think he's definitely a really, really staff halfback. His kicking game seems to be a really strong point of his game. Seems like a really strong player. He seems to really be a smart player as well. So yeah, George Williams is a quality halfback for mine. I'm really looking forward to what he can do for Canberra in 2021. And obviously the hooker who's been there for the last probably 6 years now, and that's Josh Hodgson. He obviously didn't play much in 2020 because of ACL injury. I'm pretty sure he got, but overall, I thought Tom Starling definitely filled in well for him. Tom Starling's a star, that's why I had him on my bench. But yeah, look, Josh Hodgson's just like another Canberra Swift, basically. A very smart player who knows what to do, does little wrong in their game. So Josh Hodgson is obviously a really great player, and I think he'll go well this year for Canberra as well. And their depth's really strong. I mean, they've got their backline depth's already covered because we've got Caleb Aikens there, got Matthew Timoko, Curtis Scott obviously can fill in, but if he's starting, I mean, got Harley Smith-Shields still there who can cover in as well if Canberra pick Scott over him. And then you got guys like Adam Cook, who I thought was alright for Canberra last year in that one game playing against the Sharks when he filled in for Nickel Clockstad. So look, Canberra's depth in the backs is pretty good, and so is the forwards. Obviously, the forwards got guys like Darby Madeline, Ata Mariotta, who hasn't played a game yet, but he's a forward, I believe. And also they've got Harry Rushton there. Ryan James. So they're pretty stuck in the forwards as well. So Canberra are very lucky to have some good depth, I think. So yeah, that's some of their strengths right there for Canberra in 2021. Now, the weaknesses, Canberra are lucky because the Raiders, in my opinion, don't have much weaknesses. But if I was to pick one, it'd probably be they don't have a strike centre. I think the only thing holding Canberra back is a strike centre. I think they need that. I mean, look, Jared Croker, he's solid, he's good, he's a great captain, great leader for the club, great, he's a player that everyone can look up to, obviously. But the thing is, he needs, he's not a strike centre. He doesn't have that speed, doesn't have the attacking flair in him. He's solid, but nothing like that. Nothing special in attack, of course. And you got other guys like, I guess you could say maybe Matthew Timoko, Harley Smith-Shields, and Curtis Scott, who all battle for that centre spot. They don't have any striker. Curtis Scott does not have any strike. Maybe he used to, but now he doesn't. He seems stale. Curtis Scott doesn't have that strike anymore. Harley Smith-Shields, I think Harley Smith-Shields has potential to be a really good strike centre, but again, he's young. He needs to play more games to show that he has strike. And Matthew Timoko, I can't judge him off one game, but he seems to be talked as a pretty good kid, I guess. But maybe a strike centre could suit Canberra. I'm not sure. Obviously now Nick Cotrick's on, which hurts them, but I think Canberra have really no weaknesses in that side apart from a missing strike centre, but that's about it. Their best signing for 2021 is Ryan James. Canberra haven't made any big signings in 2021. The only signings I can really think of is Caleb Aikens and Albert Hopewadi, and that's about it. And Harry Rushton, but Ryan James is probably the best signing for them because if he stays fit, we know he could be a really good player, brings a lot of quality, brings a lot of good experience to that Canberra pack, I reckon. So if Ryan James can stay fit in 2021, I think he's in for a big year because obviously for the last since 2019, injuries have been really unlucky to him. I mean, he missed the whole 2020 season. Only played about five or four games in 2019. And now 2021 has made a change from the Titans to the Raiders. So we'll see how he goes in 2021. I reckon he'll go well off the bench. Hopefully he can remain injury-free, Ryan James, and show his good form he used to show at the Titans. So let's hope he has a good year, Ryan James. The worst loss is obviously between Nick Cotrick and John Bateman. And I went John Bateman as a bigger loss because I think Nick Cotrick's replaceable, I reckon. But John Bateman's very hard to replace because obviously he has a lot of potential, unlike many other players do. His potential is very special, John Bateman. He's a warrior of a player. He's not afraid to take a big hit or big run. He's a very fearless player who is always there to play well and really turn up. He's a great player, John Bateman. I think Canberra will definitely miss him a lot. I think Canberra did struggle a little bit last year without John Bateman, especially on the edge and particularly strength-wise and all that. John Bateman brings a lot to that Canberra side. So obviously without him, it's tough. But we'll see how he goes in England, and we'll see how Hodgson Young or Corey Haro and I replace him in 2021. Now, speaking of Corey Haro, the player that needs to step up in 2021, in my opinion, is Corey Haro, and that's because I think he needs to definitely. He's got some big shoes to fill. Let's start off by saying Corey Haro, he has some big shoes to fill for John Bateman. So I reckon, by reports I've read, he will start for John Bateman and replace him in the back row. We'll see how he goes. I think he's a good player on his day, but he's ruined his reputation by the recent drink driving scandal he had, and obviously the schoolgirl thing he had. Obviously, that's really ruined his reputation as a player and in person himself. But he did show some good form off the bench for Canberra last year in 2020. So we'll see how he goes in 2021. I think he should be all right. I think he's a good player, but just his off-field antics are a bit questionable. My ladder prediction for the Canberra Raiders in 2021 is 5th. I just think Canberra may just miss the top 4 by a couple of points, but not much. I see Panthers and the Raiders fighting for that 4th spot, and I think Canberra will just get there in the end. I think Canberra have the quality to make the top 4 and possibly make the grand final, because that's the sort of team they have, a really strong, solid side with great depth, but I just don't think it's just Canberra's year for some reason, but I could be wrong, because I think Canberra are there to win it. I think they're a good chance of winning the whole thing, but I just don't think it's their year personally. But right now I have Canberra in 5th, but we'll see how they go. Good luck to them this year. But guys, that's the end of the Canberra Raiders 2021 season preview. Hopefully you enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for my West Tigers vs Manly trial match 2021 preview. So I'll see you then.